Cause we is back once again with another reaction video, bruh. And today, I'm coming back with another reaction for y'all here, man. And hey, I got another lit video for y'all, bruh. We got Mr. Nightmare coming back with 3 disturbing true horror stories. Today we got Postmates and DoorDash stories, man. We about to be reacting to today. I know I love doing these. I love doing these type of reactions, so hopefully you guys can enjoy. If you guys are new, man, welcome to the channel. If you guys are returning, thank you guys for coming back to the channel. I posted another video yesterday, like my little welcome back reaction I did. You guys can check it out if you guys haven't seen that already. But anyways, we're about to go ahead and check this out. Let's see what we got. We got Mr. Nightmare. Hope you guys can enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Go down, like and subscribe to the channel down below for more reactions. Let's get it. And if you guys don't subscribe to the channel, man, that's all right. At least hit the like button, bruh. Let's go.
On the weekends.
Now this is Postmates, DoorDash. I don't know if you guys do delivery. We got the first story right here.
For a very brief 2 months. I worked as a delivery
Postmates, DoorDash, and like Grubhub and stuff.
It was to make some quick money on the side on the weekends. I live in a suburb of Nevada, so deliveries are usually quick and close.
Okay.
Someone made a big order to a local burger joint, and I accepted the delivery. When the food was finished, I loaded it into my car and checked the destination on the app. It was a house across town in a cul-de-sac. I tended to drive quickly over the speed limit to get more deliveries out, aka get more money.
Get that money. Yeah, the faster you go, the more you get that money.
Bound to get into some trouble once in a while. And this time, as I was driving up the block towards the cul-de-sac, I saw the sickening glow of the blue and red lights in my rearview mirror.
Got pulled over?
I pulled to the side and got written a ticket for more money than I'd possibly even make that night. It was a horrible feeling.
That sucks,
I spent my night doing deliveries
imagine?
only to end up losing money. Still, I had to finish this delivery, albeit a bit late now. After the cop got back in his car, I drove right down towards the cul-de-sac. I got to the house, ran towards the front door, and knocked really hard since there was apparently no doorbell. As I waited for the door to open, I looked around this dark cul-de-sac. I say dark because there weren't any streetlights.
Cul-de-sac?
Only the small amount of light that was given off by the 3 total houses sitting on the street. It was a pretty unusual dead end. Not a nice looking spot by any means. The house wasn't exactly the prettiest either. The door finally opened, and an average height bald guy opened the door. He had a grayish beard with brown stains in the middle. His body language and way of behaving was immediately weird, screaming drunk or drug addict.
Man, it's scary too, because if you get a house like that, like just the outside just look like a horror film, bro. Like a murder house or something, man. It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'd be scared too.
Addict. To top it off, his breath was awful as he said, "How you doing?" in his loud, obnoxious voice.
Hey, how you doing?
I told him no, it's okay, as I held out his bag of food, waiting for him to grab it so I could leave. He said, no, come in, I got something for you. What? I told him, really, it's okay, I need to be on my way. He said something along the lines of not being able to tip me through the app, so he'd have to give me some cash money.
Why you can't meet me at the door?
Against my better...
Bro, that's a red flag. Like, you would never, ever go in a stranger's house, you know what I'm saying, like, with or without permission. Like, they say, hey, come in, and like, nah. Like, you walk into somebody else's environment, that's a whole different type of environment. You don't know what's in there. Like, why you can't just meet me by the door? I got another order to get, you know what I'm saying?
Judgment. I entered the house with his food still in my hand. I heard a car pulling up into the cul-de-sac as I stepped inside.
The cul-de-sac? What is the cul-de-sac?
As soon as I cleared the door, the man slammed it shut and told me to follow him to the kitchen and to put the food on the table.
No.
For some reason, even as uncomfortable as this guy made me, I followed him into his disgusting, messy, smelly kitchen. He went into his basement and told me to wait there in the kitchen.
You got a picture of a
He shut the door, and I heard him stomping down the steps.
That's funny, bro. How you be having the images.
I stood there feeling awkward, but also nervous. There was a short silence, and I stood there looking at my phone, texting a couple friends about what I was experiencing currently. Suddenly, there was a huge crash from down in the basement. It sounded like a big shelf holding a bunch of small
another
items
DoorDash driver down there.
over,
You got trapped.
Followed by what was a scream for help.
Yeah.
It seemed as though the man was hurt by what.
And that's how like every modern scary movie is nowadays.
I ran to the basement door and opened it, and to my surprise, looked down to see nothing but darkness. Not a single light.
You set yourself up for this one.
I called down into the basement.
Set
You
yourself
okay?
up.
I heard the man moaning in apparent pain in the darkness below.
Bro, this story is annoying because this is like every horror movie scene right here, bro. This is every single horror scene. Like, this just the dumb mistakes they make and the dumb decisions they make, bro. Like in a horror film, it's just the same thing. Why would you go inside this guy's house, and why would you even make your way to the basement? You know what I'm saying? Even though it's somebody down there, you still made your way to the basement. He gonna shove you right down the stairs, and you gonna be the next victim, bro. It's obvious, bro.
Where the light switch was. Instead, he just kept saying help. I used the flashlight on my Samsung to start walking down the noisy, creaky stairs.
Now you ain't gonna get out.
Maybe halfway down, the man's moaning sound stopped, and it was completely silent. I stopped as I realized how silent it had grown, and asked if he was still okay. There was no response. Suddenly, I got a really bad feeling in my gut. Something wasn't right. I heard a small cracking sound from in front of the steps, like a pebble being crushed against a concrete floor. Then there was a loud knocking at the front door upstairs. I turned and ran upstairs to open it, and it was the cop who had pulled me over about 5 minutes ago. He was holding something familiar, 2 folded pieces of paper clipped together.
There's a wanted paper of that same guy in the house.
It was, and I grabbed it from him. But I also told him in obvious distress that I thought something strange was going on with this man who I just delivered food to. I told him it sounded like he got injured downstairs, but that it also seemed suspicious. I showed the cop to the basement door, and with his hand on his holster, he called down into the basement. I told him there wasn't a light switch. So he took out his flashlight and started walking down the stairs slowly.
You got the cop
I
involved.
waited at the top of the stairs as he progressed to the bottom step, then disappeared from my view.
This story, bro.
I didn't wait too long before hearing a commotion downstairs. The cop seemed to be yelling in response to being attacked. The commotion ended with a gunshot. Then there were cries of pain, genuine cries this time. The cop called up to me to come help him get the guy upstairs.
Dang.
He asked me to hold the flashlight as he guided the man who was now cuffed up the stairs. All the while he was screaming in pain and at the cop.
Yeah.
The cop brought him outside and called for an ambulance on his radio. He wanted me to stick around to sign a witness statement. I stuck around for about half an hour before I left and went home.
Wait a minute, I'm confused. Is the guy that was in the basement, who is that guy that was in the basement? Is he a victim or is he like the, you know what I'm saying, the predator? Like, I don't get it.
I thought the same cop who wrote me a ticket would potentially save my life 10 minutes later.
What? Bro, what? I did not get that story at all, bro. Maybe I wasn't paying
Occasionally
attention
do some
enough.
deliveries.
But here go to story number 2, bro. I don't like the first one, bro.
Usually late at night after work during the
like the
week
first
or
one.
on weekends. I use my motorcycle as it allows me to get from point A to point B faster. I was delivering some Mexican food to a guy named Ron. It was a 15-minute drive from the burrito place to Ron's address.
Burrito place.
When I got to the listed address, I brought the food up the long driveway and up to the front door. I rang the bell, and an older woman opened the door. I said delivery for Ronnie, but the woman looked confused and said, "There's no Ronnie here." I apologized and said I had the wrong house. So I went back to my bike and double-checked the app, making sure I was at the right house. And according to the app, I was. The house number was 15, just like listed on the app. I figured it was time to call this Ron guy to figure out if he had made a mistake with the address. I used the call feature on the app, but after one ring, it went to voicemail. So I tried texting instead, and within seconds, he replied back. I told him the address he gave me was wrong, and he swiftly said, "Yeah, sorry about that." He explained that he didn't actually live here, but that he was chilling with his friend in the preserve across the street from the house listed on the delivery. He requested I come into the nature preserve by the fire and drop it off there. He mentioned he was sorry about this and was planning on leaving a generous tip. One time before, I did have someone request I drop off their food at a park near their house. So at that moment, it didn't seem like the strangest thing in the world.
Right.
It was just a slight inconvenience, but one that he'd apparently make up for with the tip. The preserve was gated, but there happened to be an opening leading into it right across the street from the house. I followed the dirt
Deliver some
trail
food in
until the
some
light
woods.
post
I ain't got
ended,
time for that,
and
bro.
any further, I would be
I ain't got time
walking
for to
into
be walking
complete
nowhere
darkness.
far, bro. Deliver no
I
food.
looked around for the light of the fire, and as a matter of fact, I did see a hint of light coming from the woods. I started making my way over into the increasing darkness of the woods, leaving the lit up area. As I got closer, I could confirm it was light from a fire. Why were they in the middle of the woods, though?
Right.
The question of why they were expecting me to bring it to them out there started to ring in my head. I yelled out Ron's name a few times when I was within yelling distance of the fire.
That's just a setup, bro.
No
Getting
answer.
set up for failure.
When I got close enough, I noticed something. There was no one sitting around that campfire.
Oh, man.
I asked myself, was that the right fire? But that was a silly question. How many fires could there be on a weeknight in the preserve? I walked a little closer to the fire and noticed a tent behind it. Maybe they were in there. So once again, I yelled Ron's name as I approached the tent. It was zipped up. I tapped on the tent and said Ron's name again. So I finally unzipped the tent and knelt down to look inside. I saw someone laying down on their stomach, facing away from me, so that their shoes were only a few inches from my face. They seemed to be asleep. This was getting a bit ridiculous, so I just marked the order as delivered and turned ready to walk away. I didn't even make it a single step before noticing someone standing about 20 feet from me, between two big trees. He called out, "Are you alone?"
Oh,
"No,"
my
I
goodness.
said.
Yeah,
"My
you
friend
are.
is just over there." The guy asked, "Why aren't you alone?" I said I do my deliveries with a partner. He asked, "Where's my food?"
Oh,
I
that's
was
him.
about to tell him it was in the tent when I felt two hands grab
Bro,
both
that's
my
so annoying, bro. I
legs
know
and tried
how,
pulling me
bro.
down.
I know how it
I looked
is.
down and saw the arms reaching.
Bro, I know how that is. Like, as soon as he marked deliver on his food, that's when people that's when they show up and like, hey, where you at? Like, bro, I used to do Grubhub, bro. I know how it is with the delivery, bro. It's like once you reach to there, or once you get to once you reach to the resident, the diner, whoever ordered the food, once you get to their house on that address, and you just made, if you come across any type of problems and you don't know where they at or what's going on, you know what I'm saying? You mark it as delivered and then you just head out and you get to keep the food, whatever. And I guess he did that as soon as he marked delivered, he showed up. Like that's annoying. That's what just happened right here, bro. As soon as he marked delivery, he was like, "Hey, where's my food?"
Presumably,
like,
the
what do you
guy
mean,
who
bro?
I
I'm
was
just
just
sitting here
talking
waiting.
to started charging at me. With
Let's
only
go back.
maybe 5 seconds to act. "My friend is just over there." The guy asked, "Why aren't you alone?"
He's
I
like,
said
"Where's
I
my
do my
food?"
deliveries with a partner.
Like, what
He
do you
asked,
mean, where's
"Where's
your
my
food,
food?"
bro? I'm about to dip.
I was about to tell him it was in the tent when I felt two hands grab both my legs and tried pulling me down. I looked down and saw the arms reaching out from the tent. Ron, presumably the guy who I was just talking to, started charging at me
Oh my
with
goodness,
only maybe
bro.
5 seconds
See?
to act. I did manage
Bro,
to
that is
escape
not
the
worth
grasp of the
delivering
two
in the
hands
woods,
and
bro. I
run
would
past
probably
Ron,
would not do that.
if
I would
that
not
was
do
even
that.
his real name. I
One,
don't
I'm
think he
wasting
chased
time.
me after I left the vicinity of the fire. I
Two,
found my way back to the bike easily, and I drove off without taking a second to look back.
it's like, it's sus. Is
I
it sus?
contacted Postmates customer service about it. They told me I should escalate it to the police, as there was nothing they could do. By the
He
time
said
they
he should have
responded
went
with
to the
that, I
police.
didn't
He called customer care. That's what you do. We got a problem with something. You call customer care, and I guess they was like, "Hey, we should just call the police, bro. Like, what would you think you should do? Why are you calling us? You'd have been calling the police."
even feel up to going through with the
Obviously.
police report.
That's
I just
crazy,
figured
man.
I'd let it go. I got lucky
Not
and I
worth
was
it.
unharmed. Still, it taught me one thing. If your instinct tells you to turn and walk away, do it.
Turn and walk away. Do whatever your gut says, because your gut is the number one thing. The inside of you is the number one thing that you should trust.
For some reason,
All right, look, let me see.
used any of
Let's
those.
recap. The first story, bro, I didn't like the first story. That was like a page out of a cheap horror film, bro. I didn't like the first one. The second one was good. The second one was actually okay. You know what I'm saying? That was creepy. You know what I'm saying? And I guess it was better than the first one, so it was pretty good.
Those food delivery
this last one
until
is.
recently. After learning how convenient they are.
It's not too bad,
One
too.
night
The food
after a late
deliveries.
work shift, I didn't have time to
That's some
make
good
dinner.
money.
So I ordered some Chinese food off Postmates.
Postmates.
It was originally estimated to be delivered in half an hour, but I waited a lot longer than that. Around the 45-minute mark is when I started
Chinese.
getting impatient.
Wait, what did he say? Hold
I
on.
called the Postmate driver, and he picked only estimated to be delivered in half an hour.
Oh,
I waited
gotta
a
pay
lot
attention.
longer
Pay
than
close
that.
attention.
Around the 45-minute mark is when I started getting impatient.
45 minutes. Okay.
I called the Postmate driver, and he picked up after a few rings. I asked him where he was.
Like, where
He
you at?
asked, "Who is this?" I said, "Tracy, the girl he was
He
delivering
asked, "Who
food
is
for."
this?
Longer than that.
Oh, I think that's
Around
so
the
funny. He's
45-minute
like,
mark
who is
when I
this? Like,
started
what do you
getting
mean?
impatient. I called the Postmate driver, and he picked up after a few rings.
I thought I heard something. My bad, y'all.
But I waited a lot longer than that. Around the 45-minute mark is when I started getting impatient. I called the Postmate driver, and he picked up after a few rings. I asked him where he was. He asked, "Who is this?" I said, "Tracy, the girl he was delivering food for." There was a short silence. Then he said, "Oh yes, I'm on my way." So I thanked him and hung up. I sat in my living room with the TV on and basically just played around on my phone, dying for the Postmates driver to just show up already. Just then, my
We all
phone
know that
started
feeling.
vibrating.
We all know that feeling.
And knowing that it was likely the Postmates driver calling me, I felt very relieved that the food was probably here at last.
Like, yeah, bro. Ain't nothing worse
I picked
than
up
waiting on
and
food.
waited for him to say something. I had to say hello like 4 times before he finally started speaking. He said he's outside. I didn't really know how to respond to that, so I said okay and then described my house to him. Then he said something weird. He asked me to come outside to get the food. I opened my front door to check if he was there. He wasn't. I asked him where he was as I stepped out onto the front deck. There was another pause. I looked around my whole front yard and didn't see anyone.
See, that's creepy right there. That's what you call that's creepy, man. If you sit up there talking about some come outside and you know what I'm saying, I'm outside, like why would I come outside, bro? You're supposed to deliver the food. Your job is for you to bring me my food at my doorstep. And he didn't do that. Like that's creepy, bro.
I told him I didn't see him. He said, "I see you."
He said, "I see you." Oh my gosh.
Looked around my whole front yard and
Bro,
didn't
that's
see anyone. I told him I didn't see him. He said, "I see you." Again, I didn't know how to respond. But the way he said it was just so creepy.
Man.
The last thing he said before I hung up the phone was, "You look really pretty."
Oh.
At that point, I went inside and slammed my door shut and locked it. I opened the Postmates app, and it said my food was delivered. I didn't know what was going on here, but I was growing increasingly uncomfortable. I shut off all the lights in my house and started looking at each window.
What would you do in that situation? As soon as them words rolled off his tongue, what would you do in that situation, bruh? Like, that's crazy, bro.
I started with the living room windows. Didn't see anyone. Then I checked the dining room windows. Nothing. Next, the kitchen. Still no one. So I went down to our den, which was by the back door. I hadn't raised the curtain that morning because of work, so I pulled the string to raise it up.
I guess, or get
Only a little
your
bit,
gun out or something.
just enough to peek under to check the backyard. This whole time I was looking out windows, I don't think I actually expected to see someone. But when I looked under the curtain to the den window, I saw a man sitting in my back patio. He wasn't on his phone, he wasn't doing anything. He was just sitting there, as if he were waiting for me. I lowered the curtain back down, and then my phone rang. It was the guy again. I picked up, and he immediately said, "I just saw you at the window." All I said to him was, "I'm calling the cops," and I hung up. I went back to the living room and called the cops. The man on the phone said an officer would be over shortly. After I hung up, my phone kept ringing. There was the man.
It was the guy.
I kept rejecting his calls, but he wouldn't stop. Sitting there waiting for the cops was one of the most tense moments of my life. Eventually, there was a knock at the door, followed by a man shouting, "Police." I jumped off the couch and ran to open the door.
Police, open up!
Confused to see not a man in a police uniform, but some man in some dirty street clothes
Yeah, that was
gave a
him.
disturbing smile as soon as we made eye contact.
That was
He opened
him.
the storm door and tried to get in.
Bro,
I pushed the
that's-
front door hard enough to get it shut and lock it.
Oh my god.
He didn't bang on the door. He didn't scream anything.
I didn't even
I think
know.
he simply
went to
ran
the back
off
door.
after that.
Bro, that was
2
him.
minutes later, the
He tried to act like the
showed up,
police.
and they searched the property with me. We found the man's phone
That was
left on the table
actually
in the
him,
backyard.
bro. What?
The background to the phone was a white guy with a blonde girl, presumably his girlfriend.
Oh my
I know
Bonnie
this
and
because the man
Clyde.
who was on my stoop was not white. He was Hispanic.
Oh yeah.
I did a little detective work with the cops and came to the conclusion that this man was not originally my Postmates driver, that he had stolen the driver's phone somehow mid-delivery.
Oh, what?
The police confiscated the phone and left after taking a report.
Oh my
As far as I know, that
gosh.
man never returned to my house. But this was easily the scariest experience of my life.
Heck, bruh. That story was so good, bro. I did not expect it. That was him. That was acting like the police. I thought that was actual police. Like the way he described it and stuff and told it. That was good, dude. I didn't think that was the police. I didn't think that was him. But I didn't think that was, you know what I'm saying? Like that was him. But that was actually the police. But that was the police. All right, that was actually him. Dude. That was, I don't even know what to think, bro. That story was so good. That was actually him, bro. That wasn't the police, bro. That's crazy. Yeah, man. Let me know what y'all think. Like, I'm thinking like it was number one was not so good. Number two was really good, and then number three was the best. You know what I'm saying? That's how it went. It was like boom, boom, boom. Like best to the best. Say the best for last, right? Anyway, so if you guys enjoyed that, if you guys enjoyed, let me know in the comments. Like, what was you guys' favorite story? If you guys like understood the first one, because I didn't get the first one, bro. Like, who was in the basement? Was he the bad guy? Because I thought what happened to the guy that answered the door? Like, I didn't even get it, bro. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed that, man. We just back on the grind every single day. I promise y'all I'm bringing some reaction videos every day. So stay tuned, man. I won't let y'all down. I ain't going nowhere this time. We're gonna continue. Continue to grind and continue to grow on this channel, man. So let's get it. Let's go, man. Yeah, drop a like. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you guys enjoyed it. This was the 3 true disturbing Postmates and DoorDash stories, bruh. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, man. Go down, like and subscribe to the channel down below for more reactions. Let's get it. And if you guys don't subscribe to the channel, man, that's all right. At least hit the like button, bruh. I'm out.